Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Well Woman podcast. Today, we are diving deep into the philosophy of the Home Detox Edit. I created the Home Detox Edit out of a deep need for stricter standards and wanting to cleanse my home so that me and my son could live a more intentional and endocrine disruptor-free life of no harmful toxins and chemicals. I really wanted to dig and dive deeper into the foods that we're eating, the stuff that comes in a package that we're buying at the store, and just get a more well-rounded yet more deep-rooted perspective of what is still in my life that is not healthy for me. So we are diving deep into where the origin of the Home Detox Edit came from. I have been sharing the Home Detox Edit on my page for quite a few months now. The concept came to me out of a very teary-eyed, mom guilt-filled night, and I finally get to share this with you. All of these things that I'm doing and creating really play off of one another and into each other so beautifully. There's such a symbiotic relationship between the Well Woman and the businesses I'm building around that and the Home Detox Edit. And so I feel really excited to sit down and kind of share the way that I conceptualize all of this and give you your own new standard for how you should think, discipline yourself, and act in terms of what should be allowed in your home, on your body, in your body, for you and your family. So to begin, I'm going to tell you where the Home Detox Edit was born from, because Well Woman would not exist if I did not stumble upon this concept of the Home Detox Edit. So I had been, wanting to get back into like my healthy girl era and find myself, which I'm so rooted in a deep love and admiration for health and wellness, and seeking and discovering new knowledge and learning how I can have the least impact on the world in a negative way, but also remove the negatively impactful things that the world is giving to us right now. And by the world, I mean society, authority figures, the food system, the healthcare system, all of that. And one night I had been doing a deep dive about some baby food or something random, because I just was thinking about my son, and I was like, the normal mom spiral, like I'm not doing enough, I should be doing more for him, whatever. And I found this link to a blog. I will link her blog below. She is one of the only moms that pays out of her own pocket to do deep research, heavy metal testing on everyday baby products, toddler food, packaged goods, skincare, lotion, all the things, you name it, she does it. And I saw on her website a link to a heavy metal tox report, of the sunscreen that I had been putting on my baby since he was born. This hit me like a ton of bricks, because let me tell you, I have formulated skincare and cosmetics since I was like 18 years old, 17 years old when I started formulating. And I studied, I got certifications. This was my life. It was everything. And I'm in path to becoming a clinical herbalist. So I've been a practicing herbalist for more than 8 years. And to know that the formulation of this product, when I flipped it over and I read the ingredients, to me, I was like, oh, this is the best thing I could give to my baby. It's been a long time that people have used regular sunscreens that are not reef safe. And I feel like this specific thing, you guys, it really hit a nerve, because I have a story with sunscreens, okay? I was one of the first conspiracy theorists. I'm not even gonna call myself that anymore. I'm gonna call myself a real theorist or something. I need to come up with a cute name, okay? But anyways, I have been one of those people who's on the conspiracy theory train of stuff that actually ends up being true since the beginning of when that theory dawns, right? And so for me, for more than 5 years now, I've been sunscreen causes skin cancer, and I don't give a fuck if you don't agree with me. It 1000% does. And I have this background of understanding skincare and the ingredients in skincare. You guys, I was a professional makeup artist. I was on reality TV. Makeup was my life. I was applying the most chemical-filled products to my skin and my body every single day, and that was my job. And it was my job to put it on other women. And I know what's in this stuff. And that's why I started my own non-toxic company when I was younger. And so sunscreen was one of these things that I'm like, I know what's in it. I know what these ingredients do on a cellular level. I know the way that they affect our skin long term. This is backed up by so much knowledge. I think it's so funny. Like, people really hate on people who are into conspiracy theories or theories that are just like off the wall crazy. But I had the knowledge and the proof of having a business and studying as an esthetician, all these things that I did to back it up. And so anyways, this is a long-winded way to say that I knew the ingredients in sunscreen and I knew that they led to cancer. 100%. I would like go to the grave with that statement. And so now we're starting to see people come out and kind of like hop on the bandwagon and get it, and they agree and they understand that, you know, when your skin is in the sun and the sun is shining on your skin and you have these chemicals on your skin creating this barrier between you and the sun and these UV rays, the molecules of these ingredients change and they become carcinogenic and poisonous. And then what happens? Our skin absorbs these chemicals straight into the biggest organ and it goes into our bloodstream. It becomes a part of our DNA. And so as someone who's so aware of ingredients, I felt so empowered to buy this beautiful non-toxic sunscreen I thought was non-toxic for my son. The packaging was beautiful. It was reef safe. It was made by a company that did not use preservatives. It was zinc oxide. It was nanoparticle so that it was safe. It wouldn't scratch the skin. Like, you guys, I am a thorough ass bitch, okay? Like, when I say a product is Steph stamped, people trust it, okay? Friends and family call me because they're like, can I eat this? Can I drink this? Because I'm the most thorough person ever when it comes to my standards. And if you've ever bought a product from me, you know that, and that still stands true to this day of my products, you know, not currently being in circulation yet. Anyways, so I was on this like website looking at this heavy metal tox report and I just started sobbing. And my son's father is like, what's wrong? What's going on? And I'm just like, how did I do this to him? I can't believe I did this to him. I'm such a horrible mom. I should have known better. I this, I that, all these things. And he's like, let's just pause and take a second. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking a fucking second. I have to get to the bottom of this literally right the fuck now. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do about it, because in true Aries fashion, I am a leader. I am like, if there is information that I have, other people need to know this. This is important, valuable information, and it would empower the people as consumers for their health and their life. And that matters to me. If you guys don't know my story or a little background, I will just give you this little tidbit. My mom had breast cancer when I was 13 years old, and my mom is convinced that it's because she was on birth control and a load of other contributing factors. But when it comes to the things that we put in our body, I've seen firsthand the outcome that can happen based on what we decide to consume and use on a daily basis for an extended period of time. And so for me to be there in that moment where I realized that a choice that I made where I wasn't quite thorough enough and I trusted a brand and I trusted a label, I was like, I should have known better, because you can only trust your standards, not other people's. And this even ties into my announcement of my massive pivot with UGC and working with all these brands that are telling you one thing and they're showing face as this incredible ritualistic intentional conscious brand where they do the third-party testing and all this shit, and they treat their customers or they treat their employees and the creators that, you know, create their viral content for them like shit. And so it comes down to integrity for me. And to be honest, that's why I started my non-toxic skincare company in the first place when I was younger, was because I was so pissed off at companies like MAC Cosmetics and all the brands in Sephora for giving us things that are full of absolute shit. They're chemicals. They cost barely anything to put in the product. They're synthetic fillers. And the products don't even work. And people are paying so much money that they don't have for these holy grail ride or die products because they're fans of the marketing and of the message. And now it's become the greenwashing and all these things. And for me, at the core, product and connection with consumers should be about the integrity of making somebody's life better with no cuts, no cutting corners on any level. So that night, after sobbing for literally like 20 or 30 minutes, I got all my shit, sat at the table. I had my laptop and I had like a notebook and all these things. It's literally like almost midnight. My son is asleep and I'm deep diving. I'm like, clean. The pantry door is open. I'm flinging shit out of the pantry. We're never eating this. Get the fuck rid of this. Has heavy metals. They don't like. I was purging, and it wasn't just a physical thing. It was a spiritual thing. It brought me to a place where I was like, this is what happens when you go into like postpartum mom mode for a little while stuff, and you don't have as strict of health standards. People pull the wool over your eyes. You will be eating things and consuming things every day that put you right back into the matrix and make you feel sick and tired. They're full of heavy metals. It's causing lifelong issues that you could potentially have in the future. It's not good for you. It's not good for your child and his developing brain. This is what they want. Like, get this shit out of here. So Jordy's like, are you sure we need to like do the pantry and all the things? And I'm like, I'm never eating this again. Fuck the pancake mix. We're never eating that. They don't test for heavy metals. Oh, we're not using this flour either. So we're not making pancakes. We're not making waffles. We're not making anything with flour. No baked goods until I find a third-party tested flour. Our oats, we already had glyphosate-free oats that were gluten-free, but that is not good enough because they do not test for heavy metals. And I wanted biodynamic soil in that bitch. So I literally was like going through every single thing we eat, we use like a mama bear. Like, I was ravenous about it. And I'm so inspired by the energy of that woman, because that was the first time that I felt the like powerhouse, really hungry for, you know, wellness and sovereign truth around our bodily autonomy and our health meet my mama bear instincts. And that being a mother and wellness collided for me for the first time in that moment. And I felt this passion just like pulse out of me, and it all just started to make sense. And so in the weeks following that, I really started to have all these downloads and these channeled things come from God that was like, Stephanie, this is your path. This is your legacy. This is what you're supposed to do. And like the things started to fall in place. I just got chills. Where it was like, this is what you're supposed to do, and this is what you're supposed to leave behind for your son, and this is what you're going to be known for, and this is why you're different. Your voice has never been about amplifying the bullshit that people don't need. Your voice has always been about, and even when you were, you know, 1 foot in the matrix, 1 foot out, you still were advocating for the things that were important, while we see these people with these platforms using them to do absolutely fucking nothing. And that's always enraged me. And this felt like, for the first time, all these facets and like pieces of my life started to click together. And I saw like, holy shit, this is the puzzle that I couldn't figure out how to put together. And I had to become a mom for it to work. And I just want to go into a little bit, you know, about the crunchy mom thing, because I get honestly really defensive when people come to me and they act like, oh, well, you care about, you know, the food, what's in the products, all this shit, because like you're a mom. No, hun. No. I was that bitch who was at Chipotle after a day of school at high school, and I'd be like, that's like sloppy and messy the way you did it, and you didn't change your gloves, and that's cross-contamination, so I'd appreciate if you make my whole bowl again, and no, I don't care if it costs Chipotle money. Like, I have always been this way with my strict standards and my vulgarness, my openness, my willing to say that's not good enough, and why would you make someone sick just because you want to be careless? And that goes for every category, every industry, food, skincare, it doesn't matter what it is. And so being a mom shined a light on something that I was already living for so many years. And honestly, having this be a part of who I am, like it's such an integral part of who I am, being a conscious consumer, it made motherhood so fucking easy, you guys. I knew I wasn't going to do formula. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not poisoning my child. I don't give a fuck if anyone doesn't like to hear that. Formula is poison and it is horrible for children. It is horrible for them. It is a cop-out. It is not a solution. It is something that you can lean on. Children should be breastfed. And if you are just not able to do it for whatever reason, which I was not meeting my child's cues. Like, I'm just letting you know now. I can say this being a mom whose child was underweight for a period of time because I wasn't producing enough. And I knew with everything in me, I was like, I will never fucking put my child on formula. I will find another way to feed him, even if it means a milk bank and getting like a local mom to supply me with her breast milk. That is the solution, not some denatured food full of chemicals, synthetics, and absolute shit in a fucking box that is, yes, filled with heavy metals that fill into the amygdala in your child's brain, which leads to things like ADHD and all kinds of neurological disorders that nobody wants to pretend we know where they come from, even though we know exactly where they come from. And so I just want to go back to that story of that night when I discovered this about the sunscreen. This, more than anything, taught me that if you stop advocating for yourself and you start coasting in any capacity, there will right away be things that come into your circle that start to degrade your quality of life, degrade your health, infiltrate your family's health. And this is not me trying to, generate fear around it. It's just when you stop being conscious in your choices become unconscious. And then you reap the unfortunate consequences of not being conscious. And that's just the way that the world is set up right now. These brands and these companies that are feeding the masses of the country that we live in, they don't care about anybody's health. All of them are intertwined and entangled with one another to make each other money. I mean, at this point, if people don't know that like the Red Cross isn't giving the money to the people that actually need it when people donate, and that the healthcare system is literally in cahoots with the fucking food care system to make people sick so they have more customers, and then people are like on these meds and like numbed the fuck out. So what are they doing? They're binge eating and then they're getting sicker. And like, if people don't know this by now, I don't know how to help you. So I came back to my sovereignty because I realized that motherhood is exhausting and overwhelming, and it pulled me out of my ability to make these conscious choices. And I got a little too lenient. I started being lenient. I was eating fries and I was eating all kinds of shit that I should not have been eating, okay? And of course I was using my $30 fry oil that is like organic and all things, but I was getting too lenient and my body was telling me that that was the case. I was dealing with IBS issues, lots of hormonal things postpartum. I had insomnia, and yes, I have had a bunch of other things going on in my life that were contributing to these symptomatic, pointers, like these little signals that were like, hey, things aren't quite right. But when you are not honing in on health, you start to see it recede. And I've said this before, health is not a fixed state. And if health is not a fixed state, and we have all these environmental toxins and these things disrupting our equilibrium and our harmony, our natural harmony, that's our birthright, because our body's designed to heal, we need to actively be making choices that are supportive of this thing, this temple that loves us so fucking much and literally serves us every day and night, 24/7, with just absolute 100% devotion. Where is our devotion to our body if our body's that devoted to us? And in people dealing with disease and all these illnesses, we can see that they're living a life of not being devoted to their body. They're just being devoted to whatever moment they're in and, being numb or just being ignorant or cognitive dissonance, whatever you want to call it. People are lazy, they're complacent, they are absent-minded, or they shift focus away from it. They're very avoidant because they don't want to face the fact that when you don't put energy into your health can leave you. And I don't want my son to grow up in an environment where he thinks it's okay to think about his health when there's a problem. Our body, our health, our vitality, our happiness, our energy, that is something that we should be checking in with all the time, because I believe that culminates to create an amazing life. So I kind of went into this like deep dive emotionally, where I came to all the thoughts of how much I cleansed my body, like internally, right before I got pregnant, how I did that for almost a year before I got pregnant. And I thought, wow, what a full circle way to, come back to this origin story and really cleanse my home and kind of like check it off, like complete the circle. Like I cleansed my body. I brought in this life. This life is vital and healthy, and my baby is so strong and happy. And now we're gonna touch on the home he lives in and tighten it up a little bit more and make sure everything is really good as an amazing foundation for his childhood. And that's how the Home Detox edit was born. So I went on this like massive deep dive download of like all these brands that I wanted to feature, and I got it in my head that, you know, because at the time I didn't have my business open anymore, I wanted to share the brands that were tried and true, that I trusted, that were doing third-party testing for heavy metals. I literally wanted to get like a fucking megaphone and be like, these are the fucking ones, to all the brands that were really doing it the way that I would do it, as easily as I could see, right? Of course, I can't see every single thing behind the scenes, but the brands that were proving to me they were in it for the right reasons. They had the ethical stuff check out. They were contributing to the sustainability and like even just like reforesting the earth or giving back and recycling and all the things, not just like, oh, we'll donate 10%, but like, oh no, we put people on the ground and we plant trees, and then we also offset our footprint in this way, and then we also third-party test for heavy metals, and then we also give back to charity, and then we also, and it just, the brands that went above and beyond. And you know what? It's so beautiful to me because those are my people. And I was like, let me get a spotlight on my people, and let me share with my audience the brands that have helped me create this life I have as a well woman. But also, this is the feeling you'll get from the companies that are doing it right. Enough is enough. The consumer market is the biggest thing that there is, right? And if everyone's going to be buying and constantly needing new things, it's time that we're able to discern the difference between the people that are just high profit margin taking from us, greenwashing us, branding, versus the people that have integrity. And even I've had brands pull shit over my eyes. I mean, that's why I'm dealing with a lawsuit currently with a ritualistic brand. But you don't expect people to do this. And I think that's the inner like core of it. You don't expect people to do evil things. You don't expect brands to be lying about their integrity or their ethics or their morals. You don't expect people to give you a product that's full of heavy metals and yet it's in the conscious ritual category and think, oh, is this safe? Like, the consumer should not have to question if something is safe. And that is where my fire comes from, because that's why I started my business. I was like, fuck all these products that are not safe. I know my product is safe with you. And yeah, you guys, it means so much to me. I think trust means a lot to me. Honesty means a lot to me. And loyalty means a lot to me. And right now, there are millions and millions of people that are loyal to companies that are not taking care of them. And I think that that's morally wrong. And that's why I have set out to not only have my own business that does the opposite, but highlight the companies that are actually doing it right. So for the sake of the metaphors in this conversation, we'll say that if you want to be a well woman, you cannot just regulate your nervous system internally. If your house is the external environment of your nervous system, right? You need to have both things completely meshed together. You can't be living in a toxic environment and then have an internal calm environment. That's just not going to be possible. And so I decided that my next era of like getting healthy again, it wasn't going to just be like mundane. I was like, let's revamp this whole ass house, room by room by room, every single drawer, every single utensil. We're going to swap that shit. We're going to find the best of the best, and we're going to, as if I know nothing, I'm going to go unbiased back into deep diving and doing research and figuring out what really is safe and what really is the best now with the new studies that have come out. Like, is stainless steel the best? Do we still like silicone, or do we think like silicone was a okay solution because there was so much plastic, but maybe silicone's not the best? All these kinds of things, and then sharing it with my audience, because I want you guys to have the ability to say, I want to be well, and I want my womanhood to be something that I enjoy, not something I fear. I think everyone right now is bombarded with so much messaging around how normal it is to get breast cancer or ovarian cancer or have PCOS or endometriosis or vaginismus, or like just all these things that you're like, oh, if there's nothing wrong with me yet, there's gonna be something wrong with me. And when you take control as much as you can of your environment, both internally and externally, you deflate that stress balloon. And that is what this is about for me. Giving people the tools that empower them to know that they're okay. When I did my cleanse before I got pregnant with my son, the pillar of that, the first pillar was elimination. And the second pillar of that was simplicity. And so I knew that going into this home detox edit, this is not just about acquiring stuff, right? And I've had to toy with that constantly because I have products arriving every single day, new stuff. It's so exciting, all these gifts and things from these brands. But you need to eliminate the things that are not good for you or that are not healthy for you, or take a second look at them, you know? And then you also need to simplify. This is not about owning more stuff or having the vibration plate and the red light therapy mask and a sauna at home and a cold plunge at home and all these millions of things that people hate on the wellness industry for, is this excessiveness. For me, this was about getting clear about what we have, eliminate what is not good for us, and then continue to simplify even if we're integrating new things. Life should not feel so overwhelming, and even that in itself is excess in itself is an energy that is overwhelming to the nervous system. Simplicity is key whenever you want to heal, in my opinion. And to speak to the standards, if it had fragrance, it went. If it was a traditional cleaning product, it went. If it was a sponge that was made out of plastic, it went. If it was trash bags that are made out of plastic and not like biodegradable bags, they went. Every single thing that I had been like half-assing, you know, like I still had a couple pillowcases that were made of polyester. Bye. I had, you know, all my undies that were like from Amazon Basics and they're made out of polyester. Bye. I revamped my entire wardrobe. Everything is made out of organic cotton. You know, getting all these athleisure brands on board and finding some amazing fabric that's made out of bamboo and all these organic cotton companies. Like, it's just been so amazing, the connections that I've made in doing this home detox edit and really seeing, wow, this is the next stage of my well womanhood. It's not just what goes in, because for so long I've been so focused on what goes in and like fine tuning with like literally the most fine tooth comb, what I ingest, what I'm willing to eat and whatnot. And now it's like, well, what am I wearing? What's on my body? You know, what am I breathing in and all these things? And it's been quite a journey. And I also feel so powerful for reclaiming my authority in a way where I'm like, you know, what I wear, I'm a walking advertisement. I'm a walking advertisement for you fuckers who are poisoning the women of this world. Like, no thanks. I'm gonna rep the companies that respect my hormones and do not fill my clothing with endocrine disruptors while I'm running around the house chasing my toddler, sweating, and this is suddenly literally altering the way my hormones interact and cause these issues and shifts in my body, messes with my thyroid, all these trickle down effects. They're like fucking dominoes. And people can shrug and say like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it doesn't matter. But the reality is that the studies are showing that there's proof. The studies are showing that this is real and that it's not just about fast fashion. Fast fashion is straight up poison, but so is polyester and mainstream clothing. So is high-end clothing. So is Abercrombie and Fitch and H&M and Gap and all these lower-end clothing. There is nothing pure about what humans have done to the world when it comes to the plastic crisis. And now we're seeing the plastic crisis, you know, come into our clothing, our kitchen, our bottles, our drinking water, every single facet of our life. We think out of sight, out of mind. The plastic is not just piling up on beaches and in landfills. It is in everything we do, wear, eat, drink. And so these choices around these things, these are what need to happen for you and your family to be healthy. Now, we got to talk about something, and that is that you cannot be perfect and you can't do everything right all the time, right? And so there's got to be a give and take where you're not trying to overhaul your whole life so fast that it becomes like guilt when you have to put on the clothing that's still made of chemicals. Like I struggled with that because I'm postpartum and my body's constantly fluctuating and changing, and so is my weight. Like, I mean, a few months ago, I was like 20 pounds lighter than I am right now. And it just literally postpartum is just like, woo, like it's such a wave. And so I really have had to give myself grace and be like, if I don't have $10,000 to just overhaul everything and get rid of everything, that's okay. And like my son can still play with these toys that are meaningful or that were like gifts from family, and we don't have to omit plastic entirely, right? But we just want to have the awareness around it, and we want to do the best that we can. I also decided that it's important for me to honor my contribution to helping people be conscious consumers and sharing these messages and these things that I feel like a lot of knowledge is thrown in our face all the time on social media, but my voice is important. My take on health and wellness is important. And there's a reason why this like love and passion just overflows to me. And it's because it's part of me. And that's also true for my business. When I had my son, all I could think about was launching my business again. And I knew that it would take a winding road for me to get there. But I'm at the point where now all of these beautiful things, like I said, have just intersected and they've made the puzzle piece clear. And that's why I have been focusing so much on Well Woman and building this, because I'm launching an app that helps women fuse productivity and self-care in their busy life as a mom, as someone who wants to have a career, as someone who wants to be healthy, be conscious about what they consume and the way that they live their life, and also as someone who, as I mentioned, is going the clinical path to become a clinical herbalist and to help people with these ailments and things that can really hinder us. But it just takes, little tweaks here and there, elimination, simplicity, the addition of some herbs, and just this awareness, and things just get better. And that stands true in my own postpartum journey. These small tweaks and things have put me back on that path to being a well woman. And all of this that I'm doing right now is not only me bringing you into my story of how I'm becoming her again and embodying her again, but it is this remembrance of this sovereignty. We know what makes us feel whole. We know what makes us feel good. We know the questions to ask, and just reflecting back to you that you are your own source material for what's best for you. And to not allow all this noise of this is the healthy choice and this is the healthy to cloud your own judgment about the facets of your life that need to change. Deep down, what's not good for you. The things that you're doing right now that are hindering you. What things need to be tweaked or adjusted because you feel guilt or shame, or you want to avoid it when those things come to mind, or if somebody brings them up. And those are your choice points. That's where you start. And I felt guilty for so long about how I started being more lenient around our food and the products in my pantry and cabinets. And I remember being like, who the fuck are you, Stephanie? This is not who you are. And that's that inner voice, that sovereign well woman who wants the best for you. And it's time to let her out. I am bringing back my hero product that is so tried and true, well loved. Our bestseller, Rose Elixir, is coming back as a part of a Well Woman collection that I'm launching. This is the original formula with a couple tweaks from my new persona and point of view that makes it even better. And I will also be launching my herbal tea for the very first time. I am over the moon about this. All of this is to coincide with and support the launch of the Well Woman app, which you can sign up for the wait list. The beta is dropping any day now. Like, I am really, really planning the launch. And you can sign up for that and everything down below in the show notes. You've got to make sure you jump on the wait list for the app, and you do not want to miss the launch of my products again. We are doing what we did before, but better than ever because I've tightened the standards even more and the quality is so good, you guys. Everything, I am so proud to say, 100% organic material only. 100 friggin' percent. I am so proud of this. This is the era I've been waiting for. Welcome to Well Womanhood. I am so happy to have you. Let's fucking go.